So I've been skinny my entire life. As a kid, I was naturally athletic, so I could run, I could jump pretty decently and just move around very well. But I didn't have a ton of muscle mass. At least I wasn't a genetic freak, right? You know, before I even started working out in high school, I was the typical skinny guy weighing in at 130 pounds. 130. I'm 5'8", so it's not completely terrible, but that's pretty small. That was until I started working out, in which I started putting on some pretty good mass due to just a lot of dedication, focus on nutrition, that kind of thing. Fast forward to about present day, I've been training for about 3 years and I weigh 165 now. So that's 35 pounds of muscle in 3 years. That's pretty solid progress. One area that I've received a lot of compliments on is my chest. Which for a lot of guys, especially guys that I talk to in the gym, seems to be a very difficult muscle for them to be able to build properly. So me personally, I'm grateful to say that I'm really happy with the progress that I've made in the gym, especially when it comes to chest, because I know that it can be a difficult muscle for guys to grow properly. And I'll just show you a little bit of a before and after here. So you should be seeing a picture of me before I really started training versus a picture of me just from last year. So that would have only been that would have actually been less than 2 years of training. And that's the chest progress that I made, which is absolutely nuts if you ask me. With chest, my style of training is a lot different from the style of training that a lot of my peers do, at least what I've seen in the gym. So you might relate too. So what I'm gonna be doing here in this video real quick is just giving you some of my secrets, I guess, in my unique style of training that allowed me to be able to grow my chest so much, so fast. The first thing we have to do is we have to get the fundamentals out of the way. So I understand a lot of you probably already know the fundamentals, so I'll go over this really quickly, but basically it comes down into 3 components, right? Consistency, nutrition, and sleep. So what do I mean by that? Consistency, just make sure that you're hitting the gym every week. Find a split. It doesn't matter if it's full body, push, pull, legs, or antagonist, just make sure that you pick one and you stick with it and you're consistent going to the gym every single week. The next is nutrition. This one isn't as complicated as you're probably assuming that I'm gonna make it. Basically, just make sure that you're drinking a lot of water and getting your protein in. With protein, you wanna be around 1 gram per pound of body weight. And yeah, just make sure the protein is really important. I would say carbs, but as long as you're not on keto and you live in America, if you're on an American diet, you don't have to worry about carbs. Carbs are in everything, so you're good there. And then finally, sleep. So you got to make sure that you're getting enough sleep, guys. 8 hours a night if you can. If you're having trouble with getting consistent good sleep, a couple things I would recommend would be putting your phone off for an hour before you go to bed. Do not look at screens, or at least get a pair of blue light blocking glasses, or turn the orange light filter on your phone. Another thing that you could do is come up with a wind down routine, just a ritual to get yourself ready for bed. So this might be just like reading, meditating, whatever you want. And then finally, just pick a time to wake up in the morning and wake up that time every single day, regardless of if you're going to work that day or not. Now that we got the fundamentals out of the way, we can get into some of the more interesting stuff that you guys all came for. So we'll get right into that now. So when I see guys in the gym, I can't help but notice most of the time they're just jerking weight around mindlessly. And a lot of them don't even have a routine. They just go into the gym and they just kind of hit whatever they feel like hitting, do whatever exercises they feel like doing. And then whenever they do the exercises, they're just doing like this mindless jerking, like, just pushing the weight around like a caveman. And when it comes to building muscle, we have to be mindful of the tension that we're putting on our muscles. So the way that we build muscle is by creating the most amount of tension in a muscle possible. And so one way that I did this back whenever I first started working out was implementing negative reps and isometric reps. Okay? So a negative rep is just a regular exercise. The only difference is that we are cutting the reps down and we're really focusing on slowing down the eccentric part of the movement, or the negative part, the downward part, about 50% speed. So what this might look like, let's say you do it with a chest fly, right? So you go on a pec deck or a cable machine you do your fly, and then once you get to the top, you're going to slow down and go all the way down, all the way back. But once you get to the top there, you're going to count to 5. So you're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you really slow down that negative portion. And really, they say the eccentric portion of the rep is what creates muscle growth. You're really going to get the tension, which is the main driver for hypertrophy or muscle growth. We want to slow down that eccentric, really focus on doing the negatives. So you might think that just by doing like 10, 15 reps and just slowing the eccentric down, like, you know, like 2 seconds is going to be enough. What I'm talking about, that's fine if you do that. But what I'm talking about here is really slowing down that like 5 to 8 seconds sometimes and doing like 5 reps. We just want to be moving the weight as slowly down as possible to create that maximum amount of tension. But there's another one that we can do too, and that is isometric reps. So an isometric hold is basically just a pause during the movement. Take your bench, for example. A good isometric would be to start up at the top, you know, with your bench, bring the barbell down, and then it's almost like a pause set, but you're not resting it on your chest. You're suspending the bar like an inch or so off of your chest and just freezing and just squeezing with those chest muscles to support that weight and make sure that it doesn't dip down. You're gonna hold that for about 5 seconds, and then you're just gonna go back up with it. Isometrics are another really good way to get that tension in. They're awesome muscle builders, so I don't necessarily know why people don't use them that much, but this is what I started using, and that, I believe, what allowed me to see results so fast in the gym. So the best way that I would implement these is I would throw them in every other week, right? Because you don't want to do them every single week, otherwise they're gonna kind of become less novel. But the way that I did them was 1 week I would do just a regular chest workout, right? You know, bench, flies, incline dumbbell, whatever you want to do. Then the next week, that's whenever you're going to incorporate those negatives and those isometrics. So let's say the first week, right? You just hit regular bench, you do 4 sets, 4 to 5 sets of just a regular bench press, regular tempo. Well, next week, you're going to split those. What am I even saying, bro? I feel like a freaking dummy, bro. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I am groggy today. Let me get a sip of my pre-workout. This stuff is nasty, but basically you're gonna be doing 5x5, but with negatives and isometrics. So with the isometric, I might do a 5x5, but just do the same weight that I would do 10 reps with. So you're doing lighter weight, but you're trying to create more tension, right? The way that I did it was 1 week I would do normal bench. The next week I would do both isometric bench and negative bench. So what that would look like is I would do 1 set of bench to isometric hold. So I do 5 reps or so, and then I switch and I do negative next. And then I just go back and forth between the two. Another thing that you could do, which is crazy, but I used to do this, is you could do all 3. So if you go like to a pec deck, you could do 3 sets of regular pec deck, of just regular controlled flies, but you could also do 3 sets of negatives and 3 sets of isometric holds where you're squeezing at the top for like 5 seconds plus. We're just trying to use these techniques to introduce a lot of tension without just increasing the weight, because if you're in a plateau, you might not necessarily be able to just throw more weight on the machine or throw more weight on the bar. There are other ways to manipulate the workout itself to get those results that you're looking for. So the reason why these work so well also is just because it's just a novel stimulus, right? If you're used to just doing the same tempo for every single exercise, for every single rep, for every single set, then throwing in a completely different type of exercise is just gonna make your muscles respond like that. So that's definitely gonna really speed up the rate that you're seeing your gains appear. Next, we've got stretching, which I know it's probably not what you were expecting to hear. It's not what you want to hear, but I'm gonna explain to you right now why it's extremely important, especially for your chest. And there are 2 major reasons. One is better range of motion, better mobility. The second is better blood flow. And those are both going to help us in different ways. In today's society, we are very sedentary. And one thing that leads us to is some of us work at a computer. So you have your arms in front of you all the time. Some of us are on our phones a lot, bent over, hunched over, like on your phone. Oh, I'm on my phone. What that does is whenever you have your arms in front of you for an extended amount of time, it trains your chest muscles to actually shorten and be in that shortened state. And so that can cause a lot of problems. It can cause lack of mobility, it can cause lack of blood flow, and it can just cause pain in your back too, because you're throwing your posture out of proportion, right? So many of us around have shortened pec muscles. That alone is a really good reason why we should stretch, but it's also going to help you because by stretching those muscles out, you're going to be increasing your mobility, which is going to increase your range of motion, but it's also going to increase the blood flow. And with the blood flow, you can further break that down into having two major effects with that. One is you're going to be getting sick pumps, but also by increasing the blood flow to your chest, you're actually going to increase the rate of recovery as well. The more blood flow that you have going to your muscles on your recovery days, the better those muscles are going to recover. So if you can be stretching, if you can be getting the blood flow moving, that's going to increase your rate of recovery. And the recovery process is actually where the muscle building happens. That's where the magic is. So definitely work on stretching those muscles out, and that's going to make a huge difference when it comes to building your chest. So finally, the last thing that we can do to build your chest faster to make sure that we're programming correctly and including phasing. So all of this information is good, right? I swear if you apply all this, you're going to be seeing some insane results. But you're going to get to the point where eventually you're going to plateau. And there's only one way to avoid that, really, and that is to properly phase your training. Now, progressive overload obviously is going to help with that, but an even better way to do that is to completely change the style that you're training in, and that's going to give your muscles a complete novel response. The principle that we want to keep in mind when we're building muscle is the supercompensation principle. So the idea, the concept of how we're training in the gym is basically we're putting our muscles under a bunch of stress, and then the body is adapting in order to better be able to handle that stress. And so what it does is it supercompensates, or it improves itself. So if you do the same kind of training for an extended period of time, eventually your body is going to adapt to it very well. That's when you're going to start plateauing, and you're really going to have to focus on progressive overload. I'm not saying don't use progressive overload, by the way. That's a really good thing to do, and we need to do it, but that's not the only thing that you can do. You also want to make sure that you're phasing your program in order to really avoid those plateaus in the first place. So in general, when you're phasing, the number one way that I would suggest doing that is every 3 weeks, switch your rep range. You could also switch your split too. That would help. But in general, every 3 to 4 weeks, you want to change the type of training that you're doing. So let's say for 3 weeks, I'm doing 5x5 heavy strength training. And then the next 3 weeks, I might do something more in the middle of like 6 to 10 reps. Then moving on from those 3 weeks, I go into super like bodybuilder high rep hypertrophy mode of like 12 to 15 reps. Then you can cycle all the way back, or you can just go backwards back to the hypertrophy phase. As long as you're changing every 3 to 4 weeks, that's really going to be what's going to prevent you from getting into those plateaus in the first place. So yeah, that's about all I've got for you guys. So I know we went over a lot here, and I went over it very quickly, but if you're wanting to learn more, just make sure that you subscribe, because I'm going to be making more content. But also, just to let you know, I am a trainer. I'm a fitness trainer, certified personal trainer, and I'm going to be launching my online one-on-one coaching system very soon. And as a promotion for that, I'm going to be giving away a lot of free stuff. So whether that be, training programs or just actual like month, like a free month of coaching, I'm going to be doing some giveaways pretty soon here. So if you're interested in getting one-on-one coaching, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Turn notifications on, because I will definitely be posting a video once that system has gone live. But that's about all I've got for you guys. Just a real quick recap. Number one thing that you can do is isometrics and negatives to kind of break up the pattern. introduce more tension into your workout. Number 2 is by stretching. You can increase the range of motion and also the rate of recovery. And third, finally, is phasing your programming. Make sure that you switch up your style of training every 3 to 4 weeks in order to avoid those plateaus and keep your progression going. So yeah, that's all I've got for you guys. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to comment or DM me on Instagram, and I will see y'all later. Peace.